On this installment of Creative Cabin Fever, I'm honoured to have EMR with me. So I discovered this young lady when I was just randomly going through Spotify on a Friday ramble in the park, because that's what I do. EMR, just in case you don't know, I walk around the park in Waterford and I just listen to whatever new artists are out there. And I really
Love
like
it.
Skeleton. Yeah. And I reached out to you and you agreed to do an interview. And since then, you've obviously released another track in collaboration. And I'd love to
Yes.
talk about Dreamland as well. You've been performing for in and around 2 years, just about over that, and it's been really interesting to watch your progression as an artist. So, talk me through what it's been like for you releasing during lockdown.
It's been, I mean, I have to say, so I studied music production in college. So I haven't really been like too greatly into the performing side of music. Like I've done a couple things here and there, but I've spent the last few years actually just building a studio. I call it a home studio, but it's my bedroom, it's like a couple speakers, some microphones. So it's been okay for me this pandemic, which I almost feel like guilty saying or whatever, because yeah, I've released a song every month so far this year, except for two. So like is actually my productivity levels has probably gone up since I haven't had anywhere else to go, because it's like, okay, well, this is all that I have to do. So better just kind of get to it. So but obviously like it's been hard seeing other musicians like who like rely more on performing. Like it's like, oh man, like I'm so sorry. But yeah, for me personally, it's kind of been okay. Uh yeah, for during the pandemic.
That's great. Were those releases planned before all of this happened, or was it just okay? So, see,
No.
because different people have different answers, that's why I like to ask. So, they came along during the pandemic. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So actually, my track Lullaby, I released it in March. That one was actually like inspired by the pandemic, because when it started, I was just kind of thinking about like how people can't even like hold their loved ones, and I was thinking about my granny and all this kind of stuff. And so I released Lullaby, and all the money that I make from that is being donated to different health charity organizations. So like that was an unexpected release, because like a lot of times when inspiration strikes, and I think that a lot of like songwriters and everything will find this, it's just go, 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 go. And it's like I'm consumed. It's all that I can do. It's all I can think about. Like when I came up with the idea for Skeletons, like that was all that was going into my head, like through my head until it was done. And this is great, but then because it's very impulsive, sometimes it can kind of like sometimes I need to like take a breath and be like, okay, pause, like there's time. But because I try and plan releases like out like for the last couple of years, I've had like release strategies and plans and everything. And sure, by the end, it's just completely out the window because I have no idea like what's gonna come next. So yeah.
Well, that's a wonderful skill set to have because most people need a plan. So the fact that you can work off a plan and that you're able to just go with the flow is an amazing quality in any artist, I think. So fair play for that. And I really
Thank
love
you.
that you're able to do all that yourself from your bedroom. So that's another skill that you are very fortunate to have worked on. And I mean that you don't just have it, like you have to put that skill in place. So
Yeah.
well
Thank you.
done.
It really does take time, and that's the thing, because like when I released my debut album, The Shades of You, I really sat. So I did that for my thesis for college, and I took it down like a couple of weeks ago because I was like, this just isn't the standard that I've worked to. And it's just like I'd like listen back on my Spotify and I'd be skipping those songs. And like if I'm skipping those songs, everyone else is gonna be skipping those songs. So it's like, but like I've been working really hard, and it's nice seeing the progression, because ever since I took the EP down, my Spotify page has been doing better. So it's like, like sometimes you have to just like take the sacrifices. But like it's a positive thing though, because it's like always improving.
Now, that's really interesting because I interviewed Dove Lee a couple of weeks ago because Carousel was coming out and I'm a massive fan and friend. So I mostly fangirl on the entire industry. So, it's kind of my job. But she was just, talking about the progression between her first release and her newest release, Carousel. And they're very different. And she was thinking about maybe taking hers down. And I was like, don't, because I love the idea that kind of there's a backlog of your progression because that might
Yeah.
inspire someone else to keep going. So that's interesting that you went the whole other way and that your Spotify has had like a boost or a change. So thanks for saying that because I hadn't thought
Yeah.
of it that way. Like that's very
Yeah.
interesting.
Because I mean the problem is, because that's where I was a little bit stuck as well, because I was like, oh gosh, like how cool would it be though going back to the like where my Spotify began and seeing it, and it's a whole journey, which it really is. But realistically, people listen to one song and they're gone, you know? like there's not that many people that would actually take the time to sit down and really look into an artist and really like go through their albums and stuff. And it's such a shame because like a lot of, as you said, there's a lot of stories that get missed and everything, but it's just like so quick nowadays, you know. It's just boom 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 and you have 30 seconds to make an impression, you know.
Okay, yeah,
So
that's
kind
great.
of where my take on it.
Yeah, no, and I really love that take on it. It's after changing my perception again. And I think that's kind of the point of these conversations or these interviews, is actually for me to kind of see things differently and speak to as many interesting people as possible about their view on things. So I had never thought of it that way. So that's brilliant, Emer. Like, so yeah.
I feel so insightful. I'm like, what else do you want to know? The guru sitting over here.
Yeah, I think it's really fascinating as well. Obviously, so you're like a multifaceted artist. You're not just a performer. And when you say that, it sounds like I'm belittling just performers. No. Like, I don't even do anything. I literally interview people because I can't even put gigs on it.
Now you're belittling yourself. It's okay. These things are separate. We can appreciate everything individually.
It's true. You obviously are an incredible photographer. I was looking at some of your photography, and you do other forms of art. So talk to me about what it's like to be such a creative force on so many different...
It's quite freeing, I have to say, because like I've never thought of it before. I could always just kind of like do it, but then now that I've started thinking about it, like I want to start making merch, and I draw and I like do art and everything, and I have like quite a creative eye, so like it's handy because like I don't need to rely on anyone else, and at the same time it's like it's just me, but like I'm kind of content with that, you know. That's the thing. And then one thing that it's actually just given me confidence in myself, because it's like the more creative I've allowed myself to be, the more I've felt like myself. So with a lot of those like photography shoots, like I had those ideas in my mind, and then somehow like I just kind of do it and like it works, and I'm like, oh shit, like that's kind of like I could do that, you know. Although I did have one horrific failure when I was doing the photo shoot for Skeletons. I needed help with that one, and Adam just completely came through, the guy that I worked with, because I was like, so it's like a scary one, so I wanted to like dress up and be like, you know, the song's like, there are skeletons in your closet, they creak and moan and they won't stop it. So I like had this like creepy outfit on, I was like hanging out of my wardrobe, and I was like, no, like no one can see that. It was just such a disaster. I was like, it did not work. So there are definitely times that like I have to call myself out and just be like, Emer, like it's just not working. But for the most part, it's nice, and it's nice because it kind of allows me to work with other people. Because I'm like, oh hey, I can do this. Like, do you want to be involved? You know, which is really fun.
Okay, well, so yeah, that brings me on to two kind of questions. So the first one would be, have you always been this creatively free, and who kind of spurred you on to be that way? Like, was there someone in your life that inspired you to allow yourself to be so creative?
Yeah, I think I've just always been quite creative and quite like quirky or whatever, you know. Like I hate saying that, but it's true. And I think that my mom was actually really big inspiration for that. Like, because when I grew up and I was like drawing and stuff, she never sent me to art lessons because she was like, you can figure this out yourself. Like, you don't, like, if you have someone else teach you how to do something, it won't be yours. So I've always kind of like, not to, again, like this is just me personally, like it's not, I'm not doing me to like put anything else down, but I think that led me to the direction to be able to find my own creative style. And obviously like it really is only very recently, since the pandemic started, really, that I've just been like, screw it, I'm just gonna do however I'm feeling and like whatever I'm thinking. Like, it doesn't matter what people think, and like I've gotten a positive reaction from that. But like my teenage years, I was terrified, like, you know, I didn't want anyone to know that I could do these things for some reason. I don't know why. I was just so self-conscious. I was like, they're not gonna like it, people are gonna think I'm weird, or I'm gonna be like bullied or whatever. But like, no, it's just completely the opposite now, you know. And it's like, well, I hope, I don't know. If I am being bullied, it's behind my back, and keep it that way, thank you. But but I don't know, I've just found this confidence in myself. And another thing too is mental health as well, you know, because like I struggled with mental health as a teenager, and then I'd write sad songs, and I was like, well, if I stop being sad, I won't have anything to write about. And it was just being in that mindset that just had me actually believing that. But like since then, like but in the last like couple of years, like I've been working on myself, and now I'm at a place where like creativity is coming from everywhere, because I'm just not limited to the sadness anymore, you know. Like, I wrote a song about my wisdom teeth being pulled out. I was like, I miss you like I said I would, but we got issues, so now you're gone for good. Like, my wisdom tooth. Like, and writing happy songs like Dreamland with Shafi and everything. And it's like, it's good. I'm just doing things I never thought that I'd be able to, because I've allowed myself to do it.
That's amazing. Once you get over that fear, that barrier, or whatever thought process we kind of allow ourselves to believe about ourselves, then we're no longer limited. We're kind of a lot freer. So like, obviously you can do a lot of the work by yourself, and that's incredible. But you obviously work with other people as well. Can you explain to me like the creative differences, the pros and cons of working by yourself or working with others? Like, what do you gain and what do you kind of feel restrained in?
Well, I suppose it really depends on who you're working with. Like, I work with a very free creative bunch, especially particularly Adam, who did the photo shoot for Black Denim and for Skeletons. That was him. So I came to him and I had this idea, and we both were kind of like winging it as well. It's like, I have an idea, I have a vague location, I'm just gonna go for it, you know. But it's like, and he just like made it work, you know. And he like, it's not like he was debating me on anything or whatever, or he was like, oh no, I don't think that's a good idea or anything. It was just like, go. So a lot of time, like, if you have an idea you believe in, you have to get the right people, you know, and own it too. I mean, like, I was there standing in a graveyard in like a BDSM suit at 7 a.m, like absolutely like, you know, like, if you have an idea, you gotta believe in it and you gotta go for it, and it'll work, you know. So yeah, I don't know if that answered the question or not, but
no, it did. Thank you very much. And obviously, like, the 2 singles that are currently out, but by you and with you. So like, you did one by yourself, Skeletons, and then obviously Dreamland is a collaboration for all intents and purposes. How do you feel about the difference between those 2 releases then?
Oh, well, fine. I mean, well, I've released 17 songs to date, and like, I'm just constantly making new genres and stuff, because I listen to a really like wide range of music. So when I sit down to write a song, I don't know what's gonna come out next, you know. So like, but really, Dreamland kind of wrote itself in that Shafi sent me his vocals, and he sent me a beat that he bought online, and the beat was like really chill, like very vibey, quite simple. So then when I wrote my 3rd verse I sent it back, and I was like, can I just like have a go with this or whatever? So I started like playing the chords and stuff, and the next thing there was like guitars and a choir and like big bass and like 808 and everything, and just like, I took it from like, but like, for me, that was already there. I was just figuring out how to do it, if that makes sense. Like, so I don't know if that sounds like cheesy or whatever, but like, if I have a song in me, I didn't write it, it was already there, I'm just piecing it together, you know. So that's why it's always going to be changing. I'm not sitting down intentionally being like, this is what this is going to turn out like. It starts and then it evolves, and I'm just like a pen for it, you know. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense, and that would make a lot of sense to a lot of creative people that are tapped into whatever it is that their creativity comes from. So different people call it different things, but yeah, no, that makes perfect sense, because you're just a vessel for a song.
Exactly. It's like out there, it's just channeling it, you know. Yeah.
But so you're also helping other artists, doing a podcast where you are talking about lesser known music and things like that, and I find that's fascinating. So talk to me about that and how that came about, because I love when other people are doing it.
Yeah, it's actually really fun. So it's called You Haven't Heard This Music Podcast, and I submitted a song to them in January 2019. It was Rest from my Health album, and I was on the show. I did a quick interview with them, and yeah, we just kind of kept in contact after that. They liked my interview, so they invited me back as a guest, and then they invited me back as a guest again. And then one of their artists backed down one day, so they're like, "Oh shit, like, we need an artist now." I was like, "I'll step in," you know. So I really have been building a relationship with them for the last year, and then they reached out. So I had another show with them, and after that, when was it? Like, just a couple months back in April, I think. Excuse me, and yeah, so then they invited me to be a host on the show. So I was like, oh, that's so fun. So on the B-sides where I started out, but it looks like I'll be on the main show next year, which is super exciting. And I love that, because it's kind of feels like giving back as well, you know, because I had like this really lovely opportunity with them, and now I get to provide artists with that opportunity, you know. which is
Yeah,
lovely.
that's amazing. It's like building a community, because all this time we've all been networking in our own special ways, and we've all been meeting different people that we probably wouldn't have had access to before, and we're all kind of giving back or changing the
Yeah,
manner in which we do what we do, which I think is just fascinating.
exactly. And I think it's like I'm gonna like we're like inundated with emails, but for the most part, I want to try like give feedback as well and like help where I can. Like there's been a couple songs that like mightn't have been ready for the show, so like I'd reply to them and be like, hey, I think you could do like X, Y, and Z, and da da da, and this is why and stuff. And I was like, I hope that that's appreciated, you know, just because that's what it's all about. It's just like if you can help someone, you know, like do it, you know, without like being negative on them or anything, you know, like be nice. I think that's the thing, just be nice, and like we're all in the same boat here, and the industry's changing day by day. Like who knows what it's going to be like tomorrow. And even I heard that Spotify are doing like this Discover thing now, where they're almost like a PR company for artists, so you can give them like a part of your royalty, and so we're all on the same footing, you know. So like you want to just be good because you just never know how that'll come back and when that'll come back, you know.
Yeah, and the algorithms are so hard to predict, and there are
Yeah.
so many things that are like at such a rapid rate. Like, I mean, Bandcamp are now offering ticketed live streams, for instance. Like, so like
Yeah.
you're looking at all the platforms transform. YouTube is getting
Mm-hmm.
stricter on what it will and won't allow.
Yeah.
Facebook as
Mm-hmm.
well. Then you were looking at Twitch, and you could do a lot more on that. Now that's changing too. So
Yeah. Literally, like who knows? Yeah. I mean, this time last year, who would have thought that live streams would be more popular than actually going and seeing a show? Because you can't. Like, there's no alternative. But like, no one could have predicted that.
no, like, yeah, no, not in my wildest dreams. Mind you, I
No.
really enjoy it. Like I say this the whole
Yeah.
time. I can watch a stream in my bath. I can be in my underwear eating ribs on my bed, you know.
Yeah, that's so true. That sounds like a dream. But yeah, it's so true. Like it's so much more accessible, which is so lovely. And actually, hopefully going forward, we'll be able to do like a mix of live stream and real life in person gigs. I don't know how to say it,
Hybrid
but
gigs, I think we call them.
hybrid. I like that. Ooh. Yeah, the future is now or now. Now,
No.
what does that mean? Okay, the future. Maybe it's just a northern accent.
So I always kind of try ask, especially aspiring and inspiring women like yourself, how they find being a woman in the industry, because you obviously have a lot of those, like
Yeah.
to you're a producer as well, and you write a lot of the stuff yourself, and you compose it all in your room. So there's not like a line of men helping you. So like you're strong, like.
Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah, I suppose I mean in college it was definitely weird like because there was 6 girls in my course and 23 altogether and like the rest were guys and I did feel like I think that women because we've had to like before we speak or whatever we need to know all of the facts and we need to and like almost very little self-confidence and stuff. It's like because I remember like I'd be sitting in the studio and like the guys would be talking, they'd be saying all these things, they would believe every single word that they were saying. And I was like, I don't know that stuff, so I'm inadequate because I'll never understand it or whatever. Not because I'm a woman, but just because I was like, it's just so anxious. And now, like, now that I'm finding out who I am, I could easily like join in the conversation or, you know, and that's like I don't want to. And I think as well, I think it is changing. I think that there's like a very much a cultural shift happening right now with boys and girls. I think boys are becoming more aware of girls' situations and like there's a lot of learning right now. So and to be honest, I don't have enough like in-person real life experience to answer this question as surely as I'd like to. I mean, I know that there was like some I mean it's awful how few women are on the radio. Like it's absolutely disgraceful. And like I know I think back to like the 80s when there was like 2 famous women and like the amount like I think I was on these live streams for with Taxi Music. It's fantastic, really amazing live streams. I was meant to go to LA over in November. I'm completely babbling, sorry, but they were all talking about like the guys in the studio and how they were all family, blah blah blah. And I was like, and everyone was like, oh, I would love to be in the studio back then. I was like, if I was in the studio back then, I'd probably be at reception, you know, while all the guys were in there, like making their dreams come true and being together and all this kind of stuff. Like, I'd be getting coffees. Like, I wouldn't, you know, and but now at least, I mean, I'm thankful for it because of the situation, but I have these opportunities, you know, like we've come a very long way. Rightly so. We shouldn't have even ever have had a way to come. I don't know if I have a point here
No,
or not,
that's
or if I'm just
perfect. No, but
babbling. Okay.
conversations like this are important. And I'm sorry
Yeah.
if I made you uncomfortable. It is an uncomfortable
No,
topic.
not at all.
And people never really know how to answer it. So usually there's a bit of babbling goes on. So you're not alone on that, right? It's just that because what you say, what's correct to say, what's not correct to say, effectively anything you say is perfectly correct, Emer, because it's your opinion and it's your view on what you've experienced. And I think you're correct. There is definitely a wave of change happening, but that's why I have this conversation. Like I've asked men before how they feel about women in the industry, which is really interesting because they're like, and the more we talk about it, the more we can evolve our perception. It's just the way.
It's really, and that's the thing. That's why the show is so amazing. Like fair play to you for asking those questions and stuff, because it is so important to talk about. You know, that's how we're getting this change, this shift. You know, from talking about it. Yeah, I just wish, I don't know, because I've just I mean, this has been where I've been for the last 2 years. So.
Yeah, and you see, when you come out of that bubble, you'll realize just what a powerful position you're in, because like you are fortunate enough to have worked as hard as you are, to have skilled your craft to a point where you can do all this stuff by yourself. So you're strong. You're on a throne already. You don't have to worry about none. So
I'm right here.
No, you're the perfect. You're the perfect.
Yeah, but I think as well, like it is very important to choose who you keep close to you and who you give your time and energy to. You know, if you feel small around someone, don't be around them. There's always a choice, you know. Like I mean, the guys that I've worked that I have worked with have been so lovely. They really have been, you know. So I've never had to, like, on a grand scale, experience that negativity that I know is out there, you know, that I've seen on social media, that I've like heard from friends and stuff, and it's just disgraceful. But but we're talking about it, so it's good.
I think it's great, and you're doing great. So like one of the last questions I'll ask you before you can add whatever you want to this interview then as well. Obviously you've gotten grants and there's a lot of controversy around grants, and that's not what I want to discuss. I was more interested in the positivity of grants, and I'm more interested on helping other people attain grants, because I don't really believe in complaining or moaning. Life is tough, right? So tell me positive things about how grants have helped you, and if you would give any advice to anyone out there who hasn't been able to attain a grant and to keep going maybe, or even how they might achieve it next time, if that makes sense.
Yes, of course. So well, first of all, I'm so grateful. The Arts Council, they've really been fighting for us musicians this past year. They put in the work now. I don't want to give the wrong number, but they've gotten like a further few million in funding, you know, so like, so it hurts. It does, like, when I hear people giving out about it and stuff, it's like, you know, and the thing is, unfortunately, there isn't enough money to go around. So you just need to make sure that your application is the best it can be. Read every single detail, go through the details of what they've asked you to do. If you're stuck on something, reach out to them. You know, like I've had so many chats with them and they've been so helpful. And also don't expect to get every application. You know, like I've gotten 2, but I've applied for like 10. You know, and like if they say no, you just pick yourself up, you say okay, and like you can get feedback as well, like ask, what did I do wrong, where can I improve next time? And like don't be afraid to reach out to them, because like the thing is, they're on your side. It's not like someone's looking at you and saying, I don't want to give them money. It's like, I have a certain amount of money here, we have these certain applications, we have a guideline that we need to follow. So like, don't, like, always just take it as a learning experience and just keep trying, you know? And like, I mean, I've gotten to the point now where like, if I put in an application, I don't have my hopes up, because it's like, I'm either going to get it or I'm not. And like, if I get it, it's amazing. And not only is it extremely helpful because you can do what you need to do with that money, but also it's so validating. Like, it's like, you know, and so it's worth it. It's worth the rejections, and it's worth trying again. And it's worth taking the time to get it done right, because it's like, since I've gotten them, like I mean, musicians get asked all the time, oh, do you make money doing that, you know? Or it's like, oh, you know, like, how'd you do that? And so you have to say, oh yeah, well, you know, like I've put in this work and I've gotten like a grant and stuff. Like, if it's like, I've become a lot more confident as a musician. And like, and here, again, I'm going to make this point again, they're not saying I don't want to give you money. You know, no one's like, you don't deserve this. It's just that they've got like hundreds of applications in. And like, you know, you need to make sure that, like, I think attention to detail is just the most important thing, which is a part that I do struggle with. So like, it's probably like, you know, and it's hard. I mean, this is why music needs the business people, because like, you know, the musicians are like head in the clouds, you know, and it's like, and like ask for help as well. Like ask your friends, ask your family to read over your submissions. Ask the Arts Council for help, because they're all willing, and they're really, really lovely, and it's possible. And if you don't get it the first time, just try again. Just keep trying. It's like, it's a music business. Like, we're gonna be rejected. Like, and it's not even rejected. It's just a momentary setback, you know? Just try again. You just can't take it to heart, you know? Just keep trying, because it's worth it, and they're really lovely.
I think that's wonderful advice, and I'm genuinely delighted that you have been accepted this time, and that it's taken you the 10 times and you kept going, and that you stay so positive, man. Like, never give that up.
Yeah, you just don't have time for it anymore, you know? It's just like, I think life just is what it is, so you either enjoy it or figure something else out, you know? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's easy for me to say sitting here, but I don't know. You know, I think it can be that simple, though.
I think it often is. I think a lot of things are with life, especially for me anyway. I always say you have a choice of being better or bitter, and that ultimately lies with you.
Yeah, it's very true. I actually really like that. I'm going to take that one. It's either better or bitter. Yeah.
Yeah. Will you put that as a lyric and just let me know, yeah?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
That'll be a song. Better or bitter? Coo.
Grow better.
I was like, better call the babysitter. I'm like, that rhymes, but it doesn't work. Better or bitter? She's never gonna be a quitter.
Oh.
Do we have something here? Our album's coming out next month. Pre-save now. Hit that pre-save.
And obviously, like, you're doing really well with the streams this week on Dreamland. So,
I can't believe it. It's mad.
Tell everyone.
So everyone who's been, yeah, we have 10,000 streams in a week, which is like huge. So thank you everyone so much for listening and for streaming. I'm chuffed. I'm absolutely over the moon. It was a really fun project to do. It was just like absolutely lovely. And yeah, I'm sure I'll have something else out soon, but it's so fun.
It's just mind-blowing and amazing. Like, that's such an incredible...
and also, I've never met Shafi in real life. He's over in Florida. It's mad. Like, the access that we have these days is incredible. So he heard my song Rinse and Repeat and liked it. So he found me on Instagram, reached out, was like, let's do a song together. I was like, all right. So it was so cool. Yeah. So hopefully we'll get to meet up one day and make a music video or something.
That's amazing though. When you think about it, you're right. Like, I mean, I really like your attitude. Like, you're so positive and you're taking the best out of everything. Mm-hmm. And like, I mean, a collaboration like that, if it wasn't for lockdown, probably would never have happened, right?
Yeah, right. You just, that's the thing. Like, you just never know. There's always opportunity in everything, you know?
Take the chances, dust yourself off and stay positive. I think that's pretty much.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And also like for me as well, like, I'm such a dreamer. Like, I have these grand big like dreams and stuff, and it's like I get really excited about it and stuff, but if they're not happening right away, or if if I'm just like, well, I enjoyed thinking about it, so move on to the next thing, you know? Like,
are you able to do that? Because I'm the same. Like, I'm a bit of a dreamer, and I see mm-hmm. I feel things and I see things. So not the same way as the way you create songs, but similarly enough with events and ideas and just what I need to do my end of the job, mm-hmm. right? But like, recently enough, I was meant to be doing live streams again, and then they got cancelled, and I took to the bed for 3 days because the whole stop go at the moment has me in this state of, you know, like after a live performance or after a launch or something, like most performers get a state of blues for a few days.
Yeah. I'm
getting that on and off since lockdown.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so hard. It's just like, and I think I'm sitting here, but like, I've had some pretty bad days too, you know, during this lockdown. And I think like, just try again next time, you know, I guess. I'm not sure. I don't really know how to, like, what advice to give on that or whatever, but just know, like, it's temporary, you know?
Yeah, impermanence is a good thing to remind yourself on a constant. I forget about that. Yeah, like, nothing is permanent.
Oh, 100%. It's like, none of this is, you know, it's like, you just, like, it's just a trip. Like, just, you know, it's just a moment.
You're an absolute tonic, Emer. I think I might ring you from time to time just for like, I might just rewatch this interview every time I'm feeling a bit
I love it. Call me anytime. I'll give you a pep talk.
Amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. This has been such a lovely conversation. Thank you for your time and well done on everything you're doing. Like genuinely dead proud of a complete stranger. So well done.
Thank you so much. It's been such a lovely interview. Thank you for having me.
Is there anything you'd like to add before I stop recording yourself? Is there anything that I haven't asked or anything you want to talk about?
Just be sure to follow me on all my social medias at EMR_creates. If you have a submission that you'd like me to listen to, email EMR@YHH. You haven't heard this music podcast, so like the initials for you haven't heard this music. I messed up. Okay. Bye.
No, but it's okay. They will find you on Instagram and they will do the
and
thing.
Also, there's actually a link. There's actually the email address in my Instagram bio. So if you go to my Instagram, you can like get it from there. And yeah, follow me on Spotify. I'm going to have new music out soon, I'm sure. And yeah, keep shining. I don't know.
Stay magic. You're absolutely right. And I love that you're wearing that shirt. She did a photo shoot in that shirt, lads. You should check it out on her Instagram. She is just so
my
freaking
pretty boy photo shoot.
Adorable.
Thank you. Appreciate that.